What is going on, everyone? My name's Boit, and I'm back with some more Age of Mythology. The Titans action spawning in the top of the map in the red color playing as Gaia. His name is Kvoth. His opponent today in the blue color playing as Odin. His name is Bird. Yes, Bird. Birdo. Bird is the word. We've got yet another game of Kvoth's Gaia. Now, I am going to continue to say it. I think Kvoth has possibly got the strongest Gaia currently out of anyone playing, and he's doing some really, really interesting things with Gaia. And where did he put that first tree? He cast it somewhere. What? Where did he cast it? Oh, he's cast it here. Okay, so he's blocking in this area here. He's using his trees to protect his gold mine and play nice and defensive. Okay, so let me explain why I think Kvoth is one of the best, if not the best, Gaia player currently playing. He is the only Gaia player currently playing in the top 20, and he is there with a ridiculously high win rate. The issue with being a Gaia player is that you will run into Loki players. And if you run into Loki players, it's going to be a tough one. But Kvoth has actually got a very, very nice anti-Loki style with Gaia. And I would implore you to check out some of his games against Loki with this Gaia and see if you can understand exactly why they are so good. Not only that, he is taking full advantage of early, cheaper economic upgrades for this Gaia economic guild, getting early upgrades pretty much every single chance that he gets, and using that advantage for himself. Now, Bird, on the other hand, you guys know it. I love this guy's gameplay. He is an incredibly strong Norse player. He's going for this wood, and he's chopped the wood down first. Love it. So he's able to get himself the temple and not have to have too much walking time. He under-chopped just a little bit on this tree to afford that final ox cart, but honestly 2 or 3 trips back and forth from this tree is a lot better than 16 gazillion that normal Norse players get. So Bird getting that stronger economy from the get-go, drops the villager back over onto food. He knows, he's listened to me. We have one of the pro Loki players understanding why this isn't a bad idea, and it's in fact very, very smart to be doing this, especially when you have a close forest to your starting hunt. This is absolutely huge as we see the dwarf coming out and an ox cart coming out to come over here for the wood villagers, and that food is going to come through. We're going to see a very, very fast advance time here for Bird. The question really is, do you need to advance this fast? Maybe, maybe not. He's going to get one more villager and then go up. And then the next question is, how many villagers do you actually want to put onto wood? Now, the funny thing about this matchup is like, or the Norse versus Gaia matchup is, Thor, it goes Loki is best against Gaia, but then actually Thor is the next best against Gaia for very similar reasons to why Loki is good against Gaia. And the reason is not myth units. You would think the reason is myth units. The reason is not myth units. The actual reason is Hersur. And the fact is that Hersur don't die to Leto. Leto is the god which gives you spider eggs, which can eat units, and you can get a lot of freebies with that there, as we do see some walls coming up here for Kvoth. So the fact that Leto is the god of choice here for Gaia players most of the time means that Loki and Thor can go Hall of Thane's Hersur style. Thor can go Hall of Thane's Hersur with armory upgrades. Loki can go Hall of Thane's Hersur with a semi-fast heroic into more myth units and to kill their opponent. And you can fight the Gaia in that way. But Odin can't, because Odin doesn't have Hall of Thanes. So he has to worry. Oh, and we do see some... And Bird is going to get this one time. Bird is going to be able to utilize these walls and end games multiple times. Had he placed these walls correctly, wall here, those villagers would have possibly not been able to get out of there and been blocked in on that position, and Kvoth would have been very sad. But Kvoth gets away with it there, gets back, and he is happily doing everything else. You see one military barracks going up. Do see a very early spider eggs getting thrown down, counter barracks coming through as well. So very important to realize this when you're watching these games and you don't really know how and why Gaia players are winning games. And these players, you have to watch everything. So the big thing that we are seeing here is a super early spider lair from Kvoth. It's not necessarily going to protect all too much, but it does protect his buildings here, and the units that are going to move in and try and harass are going to be very easily deflected with these spider eggs. And not only that, in that 2 minutes and 30 seconds from now, he's going to be able to have another one to place on another situation. So we do see the longhouse are all up now. He's got a lot of villagers on wood here. Yeah. So one thing you can definitely think about doing is, I mean, if you want to go throwing axemen, don't do this. But if you don't, you can now take these villagers off of wood and put them over onto food. So you have more like 3 or 2 villagers on wood, so you don't go over pop where that's concerned. So right now, Bird is just hanging out, trying to decide exactly what he wants to do here. Kvoth over here, moving up onto the chickens here. And he is going to be moving forward and seeing what he can find. So you do see a lone oracle here getting pushed back as Bird can now move forward and take these guys out. One thing that's really interesting that Bird's not doing here against the Odin is building automatons. Normally we see a lot of automatons getting built, but as almost as a preemptive counter to the fact that a whole bunch of Hersa have been built, he's just going to wait on that, not waste the favor, keep that favor for another time, potentially for automatons a little bit later. We'll see when Kvoth wants to do that as well. If we check out his economic upgrades, he is simply just sitting at a normal amount there. He's also got himself Blue Crystal Shard, so that's going to give him an extra 5%. So hand axe, pickaxe, Blue Crystal Shard, getting that bonus 15% on wood and gold. Very, very nice for Kvoth. Bird, on the other hand, lots of gold income here as he's continuously building those villages, but maybe too many villagers on gold here at this point. Very real possibility. But he does have 10 villagers on the food. He's on separate locations over here and over here, which means if he gets raided, it's not the end of the world. As the army is going to be moving forward. Kvoth at 63 of 75 population. Bird sitting back. One thing I wouldn't mind here for Bird is simply just trying to get to the heroic age, or maybe throwing down a second town center. Instead of spamming units out, just kind of forcing Kvoth back and forth and trying to hold on, as it were, to get to the next age, to get himself access to the Frost Giants, to Frost, and then potentially attempting to win this game with a Ragnarok is the general game plan for Odin. I don't think that Odin can really beat Gaia in the early stages of the game like Odin can beat Uranus. So, especially because of these automatons, basically, and because of the extra economy and all that other good stuff. We do see those Terma doing some very, very nice damage there onto the throwing axemen, targeting those down beautifully as Bird has to get back. And losing that initial fight there is very, very bad for the Norse player here for Bird, as he loses a whole bunch of those throwing axemen, and the Murmillo are still all very, very healthy in this game. There's now Bird back home, lots of resources in the bank. He started to make raiding cavalry and more throwing axemen, and he's making Hersa still. He probably should be making Hersa still. Lots of resources currently floating as he does manage to retreat through this opening that he's actually managed to chop there, and the villagers do manage to get out of there alive. The Raven floating overhead here does spot this hunt gathering operation. The raiding cavalry are going to be making their way over there immediately. But I imagine Kvoth is going to be sending units over here to defend, and these raiding cavalry not going to be able to get all too much damage done. Nice play here from Kvoth to defend that raid, as he did see it coming in. Pushing back in onto this position, a couple of Ulfsark there getting sniped down, as now Kvoth has potentially spotted some food getting gathered by Bird over here, and Bird going to be retreating away. We do see a nice wall getting thrown up over here by Bird, though, as he's preemptively trying to secure himself some of those gold mines over here, as he realizes that's potentially going to be a little bit of an issue. Bird's at 90 population. Kvoth is at 108 population, as we do see this Ulfsark has been spotted, but Bird notices it, going to be pulling back away from there, not going to be throwing away his Ulfsark just yet. Should be able to get him back home safely, as we do see Bird attempting to block these units in. And honestly, these fights can be really, really hard. You have to get the Herso that you've got. You don't have many of them. You've got to get those Herso to be targeting down those Automaton. Normally, you're like, Automaton, you remember the campaign? There's like a whole metric shit ton of Automaton you have to kill, but you have like 3 or 4 heroes and they die immediately. Is that because of Automatons are weak? No, it's because myth units are exceptionally good at killing Automatons. They don't have a lot of HP. So when they're in a real fight against actual units that aren't broken OP like Ajax and Arcantos and Amana, you actually have to get your Hersa to do that damage. If they don't, then those Automatons get max values. We do see the raiding cavalry able to hit 1 villager here, 1 citizen kill there for Bird. Nice play from Bird. They're getting a citizen kill. Very difficult to do that most of the time, but he gets a huge surround, having 6 raiding cavalry there being enough to snipe that one, and he will be getting back home as he's retreating away. Army coming back for Kvoth as he's absolutely furious that he's lost the villager here, and he's maybe going to pick off a couple of these raiding cavalry as they retreat away. Bit of a mistake there from Bird. Nice return fire from Kvoth here as the game does indeed continue. Bird's here still producing villagers onto wood. He should probably be going on to food, trying to get to the heroic cage here. I wouldn't be surprised to see Kvoth getting to the heroic cage himself here, and this is something that Kvoth does time and time again. He takes the safe route. A lot more risky Atlantean players might go, well, I've got this food over here. I should fight for this food. Kvoth says, you know what? No, I'm going to play safe. I don't want to lose my citizen. I'm going to slow my farms down. I'm going to get myself plow. I'm going to get myself irrigation eventually. I'm going to get myself flood control. I'm not going to bother with those huntables. I'm just going to keep raiding you, not having to defend my villages. As we do see Bird's villagers moving forward, getting greeted by Kvoth's army here. Bird not paying attention. He does finally see it as the army comes in. The units trying to retreat away. And this is absolutely huge. Absolutely huge for Bird here. For Kvoth here as those villagers get taken out. Another 2 villagers going down there. As the Bird gatherer going to be coming back in. We do see the little spider lair eggs there coming down. Going to get a couple of kills here. You got a couple of options here. If you want to be targeting down this, you just run over them all and you take the sack. But you kind of want to just throw your old sarks in there. But he's going to continue taking this fight, pushing those villagers off of that location. But right now, Kvoth, because he's got these farms down, because he's got the wood in the bank, really, there's not a whole lot he needs to fight for. The only thing he needs to fight for is going to be gold. And we do see a Raven spotting these villagers over here as a mana does get thrown up. The army of Bird's going to have to swing all the way around to the bottom side of the map here if he wants to deny that. But now we're going to be seeing the Hesperid's tree Stymphalian Birds of Thea coming through. And that's going to be enough basically to say probably not going to get a gold staff here. So where does Bird go for now? And the answer most of the time is going to be he's got to get himself to the heroic age. He's got some herdables still. He's finishing up this hunt over here. He's going to be up to 800 food very, very soon. Going to be able to advance very, very soon. There it goes, going through Skadi. And now the question comes, how much damage can you deal with Frost here in this matchup? How smart can Kvoth play this? Because he is in a commanding lead score-wise. A lot of that is because Bird has just spent 1,300 resources on heroic age, so he's going to bounce back a little bit, but Kvoth definitely has a small advantage here as he is kind of just poking and prodding against this army here, trying to get a surround on this position. I think that maybe he should be going for it here, but Kvoth decided, better stay back, just play a little bit safer. We'll see if Kvoth is going to be going for a town center or going for the mythic age, and he is indeed going for the mythic age. And I was going to say he's saved himself Gaia Forest, 2 of them as well, to put onto his Tartarian gate, but he decides against that, using the Gaia Forest to chop the wood down instead. I would have liked him to have that final charge there to use, but I guess there is still a forest fire, so you can't actually use that, so maybe Kvoth smarter than me. As we see the Hesperid's tree getting thrown down as well. Skadi comes through for Bird, but Bird is 110% going to have to deal with something else. What is he going to have to deal with? He's going to have to deal with Tartarian Gate. We see the villagers dropping through this location. We'll see if Bird can get to the Mythic Age. If he can get to the Mythic Age really quick, classed Ragnarok. This is an opportunity here for one town center Ragnarok. We don't get to see it very often. He's going 2 town centers though, which I think is a slight mistake here. Getting to Ragnarok nice and early in this situation. Rag here is on this location. Rag here is on this location. Not sure the Gaia player would be able to defend that here as the army is just kind of wandering around trying to find the place to attack that is very, very good. Units walking over these initially placed spider eggs, picking off a couple more units there. Very, very nice play there from Kvoth from the early game. As he is just about to hit that Mythic Age. He's at 85%. He's got himself Masons queued up as well. The Ulfsarks do manage to come onto this position. Dryads following here. The villagers able to kind of teleport through the Ulfsark, but the Ulfsark do manage to pick off 1 citizen with that attack. We've got the Terma coming into the main base of Kvoth. He's going to be looking to hit that temple there with the Tartarian Gate in order to prevent any potential myth unit spawns that might be coming through. Nice play yet again for Kvoth. Bird with lots of resources in the bank right now. We'll see what he's going to try and do with it. Does he try and just get up to the Mythic Age or what is the question? He does have a market over here. He can start some trade while he's advancing as well, as he's going to continue fighting over here. There's not many Hersers remaining, but the Frost Giant's going to do a very, very nice job. Will we see the Frost here onto this position? Yes, we do. But Kvoth brilliantly garrisons his citizen there into the manor, gets himself in there, dodges that frost, but with the units being here, they are effectively frosted nonetheless. We'll see if he's going to be attempting to drop them out here or not. Some walls getting thrown up here by Bird as he's going to attempt to prevent the units from coming through here and defending. But Hersa popping out here trying to take down the Tartarian Gate. Do we see Bird going to the Mythic Age? No, we don't. We don't see him buying anything. We've got some raids coming through for Kvoth while this is all going on. A temple getting thrown up for Bird as well. This is a huge raid for Kvoth. He needs this raid after this damage that's being done to him. The villagers back onto this location, repairing back up this manor as fast as they possibly can. Look at that repair rate with the Masons. 5 citizen here able to keep this manor alive, and now Kvoth has managed to effectively keep himself alive in this game, not taking any significant damage there from the frost. Yes, he had idle villagers for about 45 seconds, but that's not going to be that big of a deal for him. He's slow on resources, but he's going to be able to start thinking about town center grabbing. One thing that is super important now in Kvoth's position is going to be how does he deal with potential Ragnaroks, as surely there has to be one coming. Unfortunately for Bird, he's not microing this very well. He should be targeting down the Tartarian Gate here, but he's not doing that. He has lost a whole bunch of villagers over here, and how does he now get any real strong Ragnarok? He doesn't. He has to wait. He has to defend. He has to let Kvoth prevent Kvoth from coming in and picking up more villagers. Will be very, very helpful. But right now, Kvoth is seemingly looking like he's going to be able to get a gold star of some variety. So there's a couple of options here now for Bird. Option number 1 is everyone onto wood. Sell yourself that wood. Get yourself to the Mythic Age, Ragnarok, and hope. Option number 2 is to attempt to fight for a gold mine. As we are seeing this town center getting torn down. We've got an Ulfsark coming into this position, but we already do have a palace up over here. And we've also got the town center coming up on this position with a nice wall getting thrown up there as well, as the army now of Kvoth moving into Bird's base. He's not allowing this to continue in this fashion. He says, no, get out of here, Bird. I want to take you out. He's taking 2 town centers down at the same time here, trying his darndest to prevent his opponent, Bird, from getting to the Mythic Age, just in case it is incoming, as we're still seeing the Ursa targeting the wrong unit. Yes, you get a whole bunch of favor for doing this, but it's not good. It's not good unless you're Loki. As we see the town center getting torn to pieces there. Over here we do see this town center has been defended, and Bird still now he's on this gold mine. He's still alive here, and we'll see exactly how that's going to happen, as now the Hersa wander in here, taking down the Tartarian Gate, as the villagers sitting idly by, wishing that Bird had stayed 1 town center and went Mythic Age. But 2 town center greed, it's a thing. It's a thing. As Kvoth now gets his 2nd town center up, he can now start thinking about going up to a 3rd town center over here when he has the wood. And over here we do see those units can think about taking down this market as well. But now that Bird is on these gold mines, he might actually be able to skyrocket that gold up and think about getting himself to the Mythic Age himself. But the Tartarian Gate finally does get dealt with. Bird does have relatively high population here, but the question really does matter. Does come down to, doesn't even matter. Kvoth now has got Fanatics, and if you're aware, Fanatics are possibly the strongest unit in the game that a player can make, but really the more important thing is Fanatics are the best unit that an Atlantean can make against Ragnarok because they get 100% bonus damage versus Norse heroes, they deal 24 damage a second, they've got 150 HP, they effectively trade incredibly well, they are incredibly expensive, but they trade incredibly well against those Rag heroes, and not only that, you build a whole bunch of palace, defend a location, and you can deal with that nicely. We do see this wall getting taken down. We'll see if Kvoth is going to be able to move in here, take down these villages, as the Frost Giants over here just going to be hanging out, ready to defend this push that Kvoth is trying to do. A whole bunch of Frost Giants here might be enough, but how many resources does Kvoth have? He's got himself 20 favor, not many resources in the bank, so he can't really heroize any units. He's got some hero Arcus here to deal some damage. Not the best to use against a Frost Giant. Got 69% pierce armor. Villagers finishing up on that gold mine over here. There's not really any answer to the Stymphalian Bird once those throwing axemen, or that throwing axeman goes down there. It's a whole bunch more hero Arcus are getting created. Going to be able to take down more of those Frost Giants. The heavy Fanatics dealing so much damage right now as well to all the human units. There's even got those automatons here as well, and in that moment Bird does tap out, and Kvoth takes down yet another ridiculously strong Age of Mythology player with his Gaia, and not only a strong Age of Mythology player, but a strong Age of Mythology player on his main god. And on one of the considered OP gods of Vubli right now, Odin being taken out here. Nice play from Kvoth on this painted desert. I do want to ask. I want to ask the question: what would happen? What would have happened here had Bird, instead of getting this town center, instead of trying to deal with this Tartarian Gate, simply just mark it up in this corner or in this corner, built a couple of those trade caravans, clicked Ragnarok. Maybe a minute and a half after the Tartarian gate came down, killed all of that, went for the gold staff on both sides. Would Kvoth been able to defend that in this position? I think the answer is probably no here most of the time, and that is definitely the win condition for Odin in this matchup is going to be Ragnarok. So the guy does need to make something happen in the mid game. Normally we see it in the form of a strong Tartarian Gate or Vortex, but here Kvoth gets the strong, this kind of relatively strong Tartarian Gate, but really because the town center went up, no Mythic Age, it got more value than it should have got. But he gets the dub. If you guys enjoyed this game and enjoyed the Gaia content, consider hitting the follow on the Twitch. If you're on the YouTube, hit that subscribe button. I'll see you guys in the next game.